From the late 1990s to early 2000s, an influx of narratives from North Korean defectors came to the attention of the international community, revealing stories of chronic hunger and starvation, and about the ubiquitous cult of personality of Kim Jong-il and his father and founder of the state, Kim Il-sung. However, the Western world was able to get a rare insight on state abuses in North Korea, most poignantly in the form of political oppression. First one of its kinds to reveal the state of political prisons, Kang Chol-hwan and French historian Pierre Rigolo published The Aquariums of Pyongyang in 2000 in France. Later translated in English in 2001 and Korean in 2005, Hwan has captured the hearts and minds of audiences, with his haunting past of spending 10 years with his family in Yodok labor camp.
군인들이 말투가 굉장히 거칠고 그리고 이제 그때 약간 공포가 느껴지더라고요. 철문이 이게 다 열리고 뭐 군인들이 막 무장하고 있고 그러니까 이제 그때부터는 좀 약간 좀 무섭다는 생각이 들었죠. 사람들이 굉장히 말라 있고 아이들이 그 굉장히 그 뭐랄까요 처체하고 막 옷도 막 굉장히 찢어지고 기운 옷도 있고.
In 2007, the magnitude of human rights abuses in North Korea reached new heights as a North Korean defector by the name of Shin Dong-hyuk released his memoir in South Korea, entitled Escape to the Outside World from Total Control Prison Camp No. 14 in North Korea. Released in English in 2012, with acclaimed journalist Blaine Harden, Shin's story revealed that he was the only person to successfully escape an internment camp in a total control zone, Kwanliso No. 14 Kaechon. According to the Korea Institute for National Unification in Seoul, prisoners sent to a total control zone serve a life sentence and are expected to never come out. They are either worked to death, die from the inhumane conditions in the camp, or simply executed.
But before that he was suddenly dragged out from the dormitory by guards, thrown into an isolation cell, and subjected to unspeakable torture. His mother and brother had attempted to escape. The idea was to get the 14-year-old boy to reveal if he knew anything about the attempt, but he knew nothing and couldn't tell anything. The torture went on for 7 months. One day, it was the 29th of October 1996, Shin was dragged out to an open square and placed in the first row of the prisoners there. He thought he was about to be executed, but then they brought out his mother and his brother.
I think it is better we skip this part.
The brother was shot. The mother hung. She was tied up and gagged, but just before she died, she looked directly at him. He avoided her eyes.
The system of concentration camps, comparable to Stalin's gulags, and the Auschwitz concentration camp, serve as a microcosm of the totalitarian police state of North Korea. Lives of citizens are in constant surveillance, and civil rights, liberties, and fundamental freedoms are unrecognized. Oppression of religious freedom is most apparent. Pyongyang, once called the Jerusalem of the East, had once been a site where it was the most Protestant of all major cities in Korea. Christians today are severely persecuted, facing imprisonment and execution. It is estimated that 1/4 to 1/3 of the total population of political prisoners are Christians. Freedom of speech, press, assembly, association, and workers' rights are severely restricted. Simply listening to South Korean or Western radio broadcasting may sentence a citizen and his or her entire family to hard labor in concentration camps. In the past decade, as more and more North Koreans escaped, they brought with them narratives that exhibited common themes of persecution, imprisonment, torture, and starvation. These narratives have been attached with human rights agendas and organizations, addressing at international courts and audiences, in order to garner solidarity and support. In practice, these stories have been disseminated to Western audiences in various venues and outlets, such as book tours, forums at universities, interviews of authors in popular broadcasting, and featured in documentaries at film festivals. However, many other narratives introduce the common reader to a theme of broken dreams, of the human will and spirit, and the lives of everyday North Koreans. Stories such as Nothing to Envy, Ordinary Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick, and This is Paradise, My North Korean Childhood by Hyuk Kang, allow readers to follow the lives of well-intended average citizens who progressively become crippled to the confinement and betrayal of the North Korean regime. Although these narratives discuss the prominent themes of hunger and state abuses, such as public executions, they also share people's struggles to freely fall in love, raise a family, to follow one's ambitions and passions, and to govern one's own future. These narratives, ranging from stories of torture and abuse to the inability to choose a field of study due to one's social standing, paint a somber portrait of North Korea, where torture of both the physical and of the conscience are endured by the people of North Korea.